Okay, so it's the first Saturday after the ending of our traditional rains retreat, and it's been very low key here. No morning pujas, no evening pujas, just people spreading out and finding their own pace, their own time. Also, of course, it's, what is it, October 14th today? 15th. And so mid-October, and it always amazes me how delightful the fall is here in Mendocino County. The weather is it's very mild, not too hot, not too cold. It's very dry. So just, it's all very pleasant. And of course the mind always wants things to be pleasant. It's just, and we tend to, we try to make things pleasant. We try to get the pleasant, the agreeable, the delightful, and we try to avoid the unpleasant, the disagreeable, the unwanted. So it's a but that in itself is it's just unsatisfactory. It's not very sustainable or possible even to try to get everything, to line up so that it's the perfect weather, it's the perfect conditions, perfect place, perfect people. It says, Ajahn Chah sort of says, it's like trying to find a turtle with a mustache. It's just not, it's not possible. And of course that but it doesn't mean it's problematic, say, just because it's pleasant. We recognize, this is what it is. Being able to, I think one of the things that the Buddha, one of the themes that the Buddha had us reflecting on, encouraging, and actually one of the ways that he defined his own awakening, his enlightenment, was seeing the benefits, the pleasant, the wanted, the that which has in Pali it's asada, and it's sort of, and one of that's its primary meanings is a good taste, the thing that it tastes good. Yeah, I like this. But there's also understanding the adinawa, the drawback, that which is problematic, even the kind of the drawback, the thing that is its limitation. And so being able to see that all of our experience from that perspective, but also in order to balance that or to have it somewhat complete, is seeing the way out. And the way out is always the non-grasping, non-clinging, non-attachment, and non-attachment doesn't mean that things are rejected or looked at in a way that one is averse or fearful. Just seeing things in their true nature. Oh, this is pleasant. This is useful. This is beneficial. Now, this is problematic. This is difficult. This is painful. And then being able to okay, how do I approach this in a way that I'm not grasping, I'm not clinging, I'm not trying too hard to make it be something that it isn't. Sometimes that we can do that with other people where we really want, or situations where we really want it to work, we really want it to be enjoyable, and you just try and it just does not work. It doesn't fit. It's not going right. And oftentimes it's, there's any number of reasons. That's why the Buddha's teaching, there's just tremendous emphasis on investigation and contemplation, of just reflecting on causes and conditions. What are they? What are we experiencing? What is its? How did it come to be? What's its supporting nature? And so that we're because of course the problem is when we take it personally. It's difficult or problematic because it doesn't satisfy me. I don't like it. I don't think it should be this way. It's the whole program of I and me and mine is what gets in the way. And so that being able to just seeing things in their true nature, and then that's same goes for ourselves. I should be a better person. I should be more peaceful. I should be more accepting. I should be more patient. Yeah, but maybe you're not right now. And it just is. This is how do I just recognize this is problematic. I'm creating difficulties where it doesn't need to be. That's why they say the Buddha has us reflecting on it's the impermanent, unsatisfactory, non-self nature of things, and that this is seeing things in their true. It's not sort of bah humbug, everything's impermanent, and so it's everything. There's one of the chants that's in the chanting book. It begins, on all compounded things are impermanent. When this is seen with wisdom, one tires of dukkha, because you keep trying. We don't want it to be impermanent. We don't want it to change. Or we want it to change in the way that we want it to change. We don't want it to change in the way it's actually changing. But when it's seen with wisdom, this is just the way things are. Then one tires of the kind of the frustration and the dissatisfaction that we create around it. And the same goes for seeing things in their aspects of dukkha. It's unsatisfactory. There is this element in our in all compounded existence, trying to make it perfect, trying to live in a perfect world with a perfect me that lives with perfect other beings. That's just not realistic. It just is not possible. It is possible to not cling. It is possible to be aware. It is possible to be non-reactive. It is possible to be patient and compassionate. Well, that's possible. It's not possible to be perfect, for everything to be the way we want or prefer. It's a perspective that allows us to return to a recognition, clear understanding, a conscious awareness of the way things are. It's like this, and that is peaceful. That is peaceful. This is peaceful. This is sublime. Just this quality of knowing, and then it's just recognizing, because there's a teaching that the Buddha points to. The stability of these truths, the regularity of this dhamma titata dhamma niyamata. This is whether an awakened Buddha appears in the world or doesn't appear in the world, all conditioned things are impermanent. Whether a Buddha, fully awakened Buddha manifests in the world or doesn't manifest in the world, all conditioned things are unsatisfactory. They are dukkha. Whether there is a fully awakened Buddha, a Tathagata, in the world or not, all things, everything is not self, can't be claimed to be a self, can't be taken as I or me or mine. And you can, but you're going to suffer over it. So, so I'd say it's just there is this fundamental nature of everything, and it's in seeing clearly and being able to not be in conflict with it. It's like I remember one time years ago. I wasn't there, but I heard about it. It was at Chithurst, early days of Chithurst, and things were really tough then. In terms of conditions were difficult. They're rebuilding the Chithurst house. They didn't have kutis in the forest yet. They didn't have proper living situation. It was cold and miserable. And then one of the monks had some offerings made, and people asked what they would he'd like, and they offered to make chocolate eclairs for the community. And of course everybody knew they were coming the next day. They were going to make them in the monastery. So that they had there was definitely some excitement. So it was a real treat, chocolate eclairs. And then the monk who's, say, the offering was made to, had this pristine chocolate eclair, went and took a bite, and it had, because in the monastery you can't really, even if you're a cook, you shouldn't be tasting things. So it ended up with some of the chocolate eclairs were fine, but some of them there'd been some mistake made, so they had salt rather than sugar. And you can imagine how awful this, especially when you've got your fantasy, and it looks like a chocolate eclair. It's got everything was giving the signals of chocolate eclair, but as soon as you go to take a taste of a bite of it, it's salty. It's very disappointing. And so there is this reality that you're not quite sure what is the nature of things. We want it to be a certain way. We're expecting it to be a certain way, but there's always that. The reality is, with anything of a compounded nature, there is this the tendency to be unsatisfactory, and and even when it is sweet and exactly the way you like it, how many can you actually eat? And it's very limited. There's this tipping point where where it tasted good for a while, and all of a sudden, oh, I wish I hadn't had that one. So it's just that is what all experience is like. It requires clear seeing and wisdom to recognize this is what's just right. Is that in that sense that you seek the seek the pleasant, seek the beautiful, seek the attractive, seek the comfortable, and look for those conditions. But yeah, it's not a sure thing. What we want to live within those conditions, but what we have to do is learn how to live with Dhamma, and then we can, when we're learning to live with Dhamma, then we can adapt to circumstances. And when we say living with Dhamma, it's not just forcing ourselves to conform to some doctrine. It is, when we say living with Dhamma, it's much more around the how do we align ourselves with truth, with the way things really are, with the teachings that point to the truth of this is suffering. This is its cause. This is its cessation, its quenching. This is the path leading to its ending. And you recognize these Four Noble Truths that the Buddha pointed to in his very first teaching and pointed to over and over again throughout his 45 years of his ministry. That doesn't grow old. It doesn't become irrelevant because it's pointing to our just experience. It's not an ideal. It's not an idealized form of existence. It's taking into account the reality of things. So seeing things from that perspective of experience, and looking at things in a way where one is seeing the what's the flavor of this, or what's the taste of it? What's its experiential tone? And recognizing that when we see that, that impermanent, that unsatisfactory, the non-self nature of things, then everything aligns, everything lines up. It's like, and there's a certain element of disenchantment and dispassion that is elicited, and that is a really, and that's a desirable thing. And sometimes there's a problem with language, because especially in, say, the English language, Western modern culture, then if you say disenchantment and dispassion, it's sort of, oh, what a boring, dreary existence that one is having to live with. But that's not what actually happens. when one is living with Dhamma, there is a disenchantment and dispassion, because one's the kind of the veil of illusion that somehow I'm going to I find I'm going to get that sweet chocolate eclair. It's going to be delicious all the time, and it's going to satisfy you. It's a that falls away, and what's left is a quality of serenity and clarity and stability. Even to say equanimity in English is somehow implying an indifference, but that stability and clarity and serenity is the natural result of disenchantment and losing that enticement or enchantment or the infatuation that one has. And we're infatuated with, say, aversion or ill will, or it's not just desirable things, because we get swept up in our opinions and views of about how wrong something is, or how bad something is, or get wound up into righteous indignation about all sorts of things. And how useful is that? It just is there's just so much agitation there. So being able to seeing things through the light of living with Dhamma, so that one is really reflecting on that inconstant, impermanent, changing, changeful nature of things. Or it's unsatisfactory. It's the element of dukkha, stress, the stressful side of things. And it's not self. This is not me. This is not mine. This is not what I am, which is what the sense of self keeps saying. And it's the peace is in the letting go. It's in the relinquishment, the non-clinging. There's suttas where the Buddha is asked for a very succinct summary of his teachings of the Dhamma, and one of the ways he does that, and he'd say in Pali, "Sambe Dhamma Nalanga Biniwesaya," and said all things are not to be clung to. Nothing whatsoever is to be clung to or attached to. And that's a way of, when one sees that, one sees everything. When one practices that, one practices everything. When one realizes that, one realizes everything. And even when it's that simple, you realize how difficult it is to not cling, to not get attached. We just keep switching around our focus and get tangled up with different things and create problems and difficulties and complications. So that being able to just remind ourselves. And that's why one of the reasons why where one isn't trying to force oneself into the mold of being whatever one's idea of an ideal practitioner is, but just recognizing the impermanent, unsatisfactory, non-self nature of everything, whether it's the material world, the mental world, the emotional world, the spiritual world. Everything falls into that category, and it's when we start seeing that we can start just seeing over and over and over again, that we finally loosen our grip and basically stop creating problems, stop creating difficulties. So allow ourselves and the world to be a place of ease and peace. Anyway, those are some reflections for the evening.